Hey, Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D, Scott Moore. Here we are again, Kansas City. Seems like wherever I go, you're there waiting to be interviewed. How you doing? How was your trip out?
It was great. It was. We had some time after the Crossroads League tournament to finish up, and obviously, it's always nice when you get to play at home. It's a big deal. It's a big advantage of sleeping in your own bed, and even then, just having those extra days to prepare before you have to come out here. Just spending the last couple of days with your family, and got out here today, and here we are.
Let's start with that regional tournament, whatever you want to play at Winona Lake. I thought, Coach Sharp is somebody I've always respected. Johnson, I thought they gave you a whale of a game.
Yeah, I tell you what, we haven't played too many guys like Mason Lockhart.
Yep.
He was a problem, and what the national tournament does. And these guys, I think, have already talked about this, is, you see such different contrasting styles, and it makes you kind of dig in deep a little bit of doing some stuff that you're not usually doing. And so, Lockhart and company, they gave us a couple different looks that we had not seen a lot through the season, just playing in the Crossroads League. And they were good. But so were the rest of the 62 teams that were playing, right? I think you get there, everybody's good for a reason. So, it was a good game, got through them, and then had a really good game against Southeastern. Jumped out hot in the first half, and they closed it pretty quick, and we were able to kind of push ahead at the end there. But really fortunate just to be at home and, again, have that advantage, just the atmosphere.
Yeah, and you had a great crowd, too.
It was a good crowd. Our students were on spring break, so wasn't any students there, so just really neat to see the community come out and still support the boys.
When I look at your team this season, you and I were together earlier in the year, talked about how young your team was. You've played like anything but a young team. You got Ian Rosh and Gage Sefton, who are juniors. They're playing like 50 or seniors, as you know. But I wrote these guys down. Wellman, Tyler Rosh is a freshman, playing 20 minutes a game. Wellman's a sophomore. Hunter Walston, Grady Carpenter.
Yep.
They're all having banner years. Talk about how these young guys have just come on for you.
Yeah, it's been. Michael's a freshman too, actually. So it's we have six freshmen, five that play. Two sophomores have kind of got in that rotation quite a bit here, and then two juniors, Gage and Ian. So, every beginning of the year is everything. We all used to say, if you're a freshman and you're playing a lot in the Crossroads League, two things are probably true. Either the freshman is really, really special, or your team's not very good. So luckily for us, I think that it's more the first one. You lose 7 guys like we had, and you lose the 5 before with the twins and Wadding and Malone and those guys. So every year is different. But I think going in about 2 weeks into the season, I just kind of noticed. Obviously they haven't seen a lot of things. They're going to be learning on the fly, but man, they're hungry and they work their butt off, and the cohesiveness. I think that's where Gage and Ian did a really good job.
Absolutely.
They took a different route where, both of them had very strong roles on that 23 team. And it was hard for them to get on the floor.
Yeah.
And then, a year later, both of them are kind of household names. And then now, it's like, okay, here they go. Ian was, just missed out on Conference Player of the Year with Bontrager. And, Gage has been everything, for us that we could have asked this season. So those two guys, just their leadership. And then, having those young guys, like, they got to trust it too. And I think all of them have just kind of bought in and believing in what we're doing, believing in what those two guys are asking them to do, and just their development, right? The development from October to now has been outstanding. So you're right. They don't look like freshmen. Those guys don't look like sophomores. And then Gage and Ian sure don't look like juniors.
No, the thing about Gage and Ian, they're leaders, but they model. They model it. And you can tell the freshmen play. They're not only good basketball players. What I always look for, and I saw this in Wadding, especially when he was young, guys who step on the court and it's like, oh, he belongs there. Mm-hmm. He's not backing down from anybody. Yep. And these guys are shooting big shots and making big shots in big games.
Yep.
It's a special group you have.
It's a special group, and they've kind of bought into that. It's kind of neat with even the group we had last year with Ian and Carter and Bryson and those guys, where so unselfish, and it's like, okay, which one are you gonna pick on now? And I think this group even has more of that, where it's like, we've got 5 guys averaging double figures, and we got 2 guys, 2 freshmen, and Michael and Gavin, who step on the floor that are just instant offense. And we've had, I think, 8 guys lead us in scoring this year again. So it's been cool just to see different players, but kind of the same results of those guys in the past that have kind of set the tone and how we want to play. So a lot of unselfishness. And again, I hope you can say this, but hopefully their ceiling is still much higher.
Yeah, you would hope so as freshmen. Yeah.
Yep.
So you came, obviously we talk about the Crossroads all the time. You come out of the Crossroads, you're as battle tested as anybody in the country. You had to play, everybody knows Crossroad, Huntington. You had to go to Huntington. You had to go to Bethel. You had to go to Indiana Wesleyan. What does that add to your team value? I would say that they're so battle tested coming out of that conference.
Yeah, it's the league itself is interesting because I think there's a lot of good leagues in the country, and there's a lot of great leagues in the country. I think our league is very unique in that you really, if you take a breath at 8, 9, or 10, you're going to get your butt kicked.
Right.
We've talked about this before, where Wesleyan is on the ropes in overtime against Goshen. We beat Goshen by 2 at home. Like, that's the 10th team in our conference this year, and they're getting better. So, yeah, I think that's what it does. It does a good job of not allowing you to take a night off, because if you do take a night off, and I think that's what happened to us one game, is we had all these young guys. We wrapped up the conference regular season, and Ian's kind of dealing with some knick-knack injuries, so we sit him, so we don't have our leader. And then we go to a really good Bethel team on the road, and it's the first time this season where it looked like, okay, those guys, like, they out-toughed us. It was the first game I thought that we really got out-toughed for 40 minutes, and you could tell, okay, maybe that's a young thing, right? Maybe that's something I didn't do a good job of preparing ourselves. But, it's a long season. Every conference, provides, great competition to get here.
Yep.
And that's the ultimate goal, is get here. And, now, gosh, you get to see a GSAC team. You get to see a Sun team. You get to see, one of the Hart teams. You get to see it's just left and right. It's just good basketball.
Yeah, you look at the styles out here, like everything from, teams that want to run and play fast, and then you got Hope that really wants to slow you down and bully. It's just a whole wide range.
Yep.
I want to ask about, like, you as a staff, because you've had the same staff now, one of the best in the country, for several years, and you've been to Kansas City several years. What knowledge, what do you bring as a staff that you've learned from those trips? Like, what knowledge can you bring into this year?
One time you come into something that you're familiar with, it helps ease attention, especially with, 7 freshmen on your team who are coming here the first time. And I think that's what I did differently, is each year you find out a little bit more that you want to do or you don't want to do. And like this year, something different that we've done is every single guy that's been here before is rooming with someone who hasn't.
Okay.
So that's a little thing, but I don't want any of our freshmen or newbies who've never been here to be together alone trying to figure out, like, hey, where's Municipal? Oh, it's across the street. What time are we leaving? So we kind of did that, and little things like the schedule, where you practice, when you want to walk over, how early is too early, when do you want to eat. Like, it's just us being here for the last 5 years. I think us and maybe, Arizona Christian maybe are the ones, Chris has been here with Langston quite a bit.
Chris.
And, Stutz is now here maybe 4 years in a row. And
Donnie,
Donnie's here all the time, and, Indiana Wesleyan. And so I think they'd tell you the same thing, where for us, it's probably a little bit more coach led, where, hey, Ian, Gage, and then us, Cannon, Hunter, you guys have played in this before. Help lead those younger guys, because it's the first time they're experiencing all of it. So it does make a big difference, I think. And as a staff, those 2 guys, and with Marcus as well, it also helps us. And we know now how to divvy up responsibility, so we're not all just, banging our head at night and just trying to stay up till 4 a.m. Like, my focus is the boys and our guys. That's it. And those guys do a great job of taking care of, okay, what's next? What's the task ahead? And we've got a little rhythm now after 7 years being together, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. So it's been good.
So everybody knows that playoff basketball is different than the regular season. You and I were talking before we started. You're a high value point team. You're one of the better defensive teams in the country. When you come into playoff basketball, do you focus on anything different? Do you focus on any different part of the game, knowing that that part is going to be more important in playoff basketball?
Well, the game's called differently here in Kansas City.
Yes.
So I think that's obvious. Is being here now, for 5 years, it's like, okay, I have to prep our guys in the next couple of days. And we've talked about it leading up. And the guys like Ian and Gage and Hunt, and those guys have been here, know that. So they've been able to experience that. So we focus a little bit more on like that. But other than that, I think the biggest thing we're trying to tell our guys is out here, simple wins. Like whoever can do simple at such a high level, and simple just means whatever you do well, like just stick to your guns.
Yep.
Don't throw things out. Don't change things up. Like you start making too many adjustments and getting kind of crazy and hectic, you kind of lose your tempo, and it just, you're going against too many good coaches out here that you're going to lose your mind if you try to just, X and O every single thing of the game. Like you got to play and you got to control the emotions, and it's a long game. It's 40 minutes. So at this point, we're 33 games in, like
33 games.
If we don't know, what we're doing or how we want to do it, and then we're not going to last very long anyway. So our goal is very simple. It's like, we're going to be a high possession basketball team. We like to score the basketball. We're one of the best offensive teams in the country. We try to be very, very simplistic on how we guard and try to put our guys in successful positions. I like to try to keep our defender pretty simple, in front of the basket, in front of the basketball. Like as long as we can try to stay in those areas and give ourselves good rebounding position, and then let our guys then be creative on the transition side of the ball. Like that's where I think it's a little bit like we recruited that, and you can see like there's no real scheme transition. It's let's go. And if you can do those two sides of the floor and then let the middle play itself out, that's what makes our team really successful. So
he's giving me the sign that we're getting near that 15-minute mark. Yep. I gave him. But I did want to ask you before we wrap up. You have really you're in the process of building a powerhouse at Grace. You're building the program you're building. What does it mean to you, to the program, to the town, to the area that you get back here time after time? When you make this trip back here, what does it mean to the program?
Yeah, the program, I think that's a key word there. I think it starts back with Coach Kessler. I think it started 40 plus years ago where, we get to celebrate Coach Corver in his retirement coming up. And like, those are the guys that have laid that foundation of what our teams are and what we strive to be. So you talk about a powerhouse program and, what we've done, it's kind of neat because I'm a part of it. Mm-hmm. But I'm just a part of it. And I think we just talked about the other day, those guys who have put on that jersey, those guys before them, even the guys my first year doing this who were good, but not number one in the country, number two in the country, three, whatever good. They had to go through that. And I think that process all has purpose. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of hands in this to create what Grace basketball is, and a powerhouse, whatnot. That's what other people can talk about. I want our program to say, when we walk through the door, it's a program people respect. They're tough as nails. They play hopefully the right way, and man, hopefully we don't want to see them. And if we see them, we know we're gonna have our hands full. So that's what I hope for as a coach, and to come back here, to have your support and your fans and be able to just give them something to, we want to play as long as we can. And it's the middle of March, and we're playing a long time. So it means the world to me. It means the world to our fans, our administration, our community. And it's what small college basketball really is about. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of your family. They always come out and support you as well. Sure. Scott, I really appreciate you taking some time tonight. Thanks a lot. That's Scott Moore, Grace Lancer Basketball. Thank you.